Hi, I'm Noah Gladstone. I'm a music producer and the co-owner of Hollywood Scoring in Los Angeles.
Hi, I'm Viranda Tantula. I am a creative director and executive producer based out of Los Angeles, California, co-founder of Potion Projects, a creative agency focused at the intersection point of contemporary culture and the virtual world.
I got into music when I was very young. I was always captivated by music and watching it on PBS with my parents back in the old days. And when I went to music school at USC, University of Southern California, I really got into, gaming and all sorts of things like that. Around the same time, you were at USC, also in gaming at the same time.
Yeah.
We just didn't know each other, but we had classes together. And after graduating from USC, I started a music production company with some of my friends that were composers from USC. I made a lot of connections, industry connections and composers at college. And we started Hollywood Scoring, which is a music production company. And early on, we decided that it would be really cool to focus on kind of the gaming industry culture, and not do all our eggs in the film TV basket. Of course, we do a lot of that stuff now too, but I always was fascinated by the gaming world, the gaming space, creating new things, and getting into music to support that.
For myself, I think I was also just into music since I was a kid. I think I've been a student of contemporary culture ever since I was little and couldn't even describe it that way. I played every instrument you could imagine growing up, but played them each only for about a year or two.
So other notable projects that Hollywood Scoring's worked on, we did some collaboration with Star Wars Galaxy's Edge for the Disney parks and had a really cool opportunity to partner up with some composers and create a lot of unique original sounds for the theme park that you hear, totally out of the box, creating new stuff and new instruments that have never been created before for that. So that was a really fun project. We've worked a lot with Blizzard on StarCraft and Diablo and World of Warcraft and a lot of that. In addition to League of Legends, of course, we work on the Valorant team, Legends of Runeterra and Wild Rift. So we do a lot of stuff in the gaming world, feature films, all sorts of things like that. Collaborations with bands, working with Avenged Sevenfold right now. So one of our main clients is Riot Games, and all servicing music for all of their games. So that's League of Legends, Valorant, Legends of Runeterra, and Wild Rift. In addition to Riot Games, we've worked with Blizzard and handled some of their music for Diablo and World of Warcraft and Overwatch. In the film and TV world, we've worked with Universal and Warner Brothers and Sony and all of them, all the big pictures and television stuff supporting for musical underscore and recording with live musicians. And the roster is growing. So the first thing we do usually is we look at the artwork, we look at the storyboard, we try to figure out, what are we trying to tell? What are we trying to convey to the people that will consume this media? Is it emotional? Is it a story? Is it all of those things? And what references are we trying to go for? And we'll try to plan all that out. And then from a music standpoint, we'll say what genre could it be? What kind of style could it be that would really fit in this project? And that's kind of the first step. Once you have that nailed down, and there's visuals maybe that are associated with the project now, we'll take it and we'll spot it, which means that we figure out where the music is going to be the most impactful in relation to what you're seeing on screen and to tell the story. And that's what we did for this project. We got the visuals, a storyboard in the beginning, very, very rough animation, and we were like, what's the story we want to tell here? We talked about it and we came to a consensus, here's kind of the genre, here's the style of music. So our composer started to work and create a couple different options of sounds that could work. And we throw those out there and then take feedback and see what people like. And I think on this particular project, there was one in particular sound that was that was it. So, okay, we're in consensus and we agree. So then we kind of go through the process a little bit more and start refining. As the visuals are more refined, we do more passes on the music and refine and add elements and, you know, change this timing structure up or change where this peak of climax is. And ultimately, you know, through a lot of conversations and collaboration, you end up with something that's really, really dope.
Yeah, I think with any creative project, just starting with like, what's the feeling that you want the audience to get from this, right? What's the feeling? What's the goal of the piece also, you know? And then from there, like starting with like a general consensus on feel is important. I think genre walls are continuously crumbling a little bit. They still definitely exist, but like there's more and more and more fusion of genres. So we try and kind of like calibrate on like, okay, how do we want this to feel? Like what's the energy level we want it to feel? But from there, we figure that out first, then figure out genre and figure out, you know, I think production value is kind of easy. Like that's the easiest part of it, but cracking melody is often difficult. And then I think what's challenging about a piece like this, with the Everai piece, is this is going to be the first thing that audience members really and fans and community members really see of this. And it is, candidly, it's a tease. You know, it's a
25 seconds,
30 second piece. We've got some amazing animation by Mehdi and the whole squad, but it is ultimately a tease. How do you get the sonics to like really hit home? How do you get the music and melody to really hit home in a very limited amount of time?
Absolutely, and making sure that it's memorable, you know, and people associate like, oh, that's something I haven't heard or something I haven't seen before. So you really create that wedding between, you know, the visuals and the whole presentation of the sonics and everything. It was a really fun project to do. Once we get the music done, then of course we go and we do sound design pass. So that's when things get really interesting. You kind of create all these different sound effects and, you know, and it's really a fun process to kind of spot all of these sound effects and, you know, the little nuances. I love just listening to the sound effects pass a lot of the times because it brings so much energy and you don't even really realize it when you're you know, enjoying the whole piece. But the sound effects on their own are such an art to get, you know, really effective sound effects. So that was a really fun process on this particular Everai project. It was really satisfying to do the sound effects.
When it came to figuring out the sonic palette of Everai, right? Like, where do we draw inspiration from? How do we even figure this out? I had a lot of fun. This is before we even started on music. About 2 months before, we got a group together, a bunch of writers and creative folks, and we did a brainstorm. And we started shaping what's the world of the Everai, right? And without revealing too much here and whatnot, one of the things that's really special about the Everai is it's sort of this like collision of the organic and the technological, right? There's this whole concept of the ancient and the future, right? And how do we balance these things? So when we first brought Noah and the Hollywood Scoring Gang into the project, one of the ways that we briefed them was that wherever we land with this, it needs to kind of play into both the sort of the organic feeling of the Everai universe and the sort of technological feeling of the universe. And that's why, you know, I think, and you can talk about choice of instrumentation and things like that, but it has a little bit of both.
Right, we wanted to keep like, we wanted to have an electronic underscore because it's mechanical, and we wanted to you know, get that mechanical and that ancient sound also. But, you know, in order to do that, you have to kind of mix some instrumentation that isn't always mixed. So, you know, we had some organic strings, some wooden instruments blended with the synth sounds that we created custom for this project, and kind of created the musical building blocks from that. From there, you kind of build out your melody, you know, hit your emotional peaks, and it really kind of works seamlessly.
There's so many. Yeah.
There's so many.
Well, I think that ultimately, like, everything is derivative, and I'll call bullshit on anyone that that says everything is not derivative.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
We talked about Transformers, I think, at one point. You know, yeah, we talked about a lot of Hans Zimmer.
I think on the sound design side,
sound design stuff, and you know, Hans Zimmer, of course, is ubiquitous. You can't talk about, you know, music without Hans Zimmer now. He's such an influential fingerprint on everything.
I refer to the Tron, Daft Punk score like so often,
Yeah.
and you know, these things that inspired us. But then it's funny because like Noah and I will talk a lot about like the god, like John Williams.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Of
and
course.
like how important, just in a world where everything's almost gone like too much sound design.
For sure.
How important melody is.
For sure. I mean, he's the king of writing the picture and melodic score. I mean, there's nobody better, and it's amazing he's turning 90 this year, so he's still going.
Crazy. Thanks everyone. We're excited for the whole community and fans of games, fans of Web3, fans of NFTs to start learning more about the universe of Everai. The team's been hard at work at it, and we have a lot more dope stuff coming your way in the next couple months.